Thank you. Hello, everybody. It's my name is Mathias Watripon, and it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest today, Emilie Esterzon, who is a visiting professor at the Universitat de les Illes Balears. Has been there since 2022. Emilie has a business engineering degree from our own university, and then Solvay Business School, because it was before the merger. Then you had experience in the private sector, in market research and advertising, consulting for clients like Procter & Gamble, Reckitt Benckiser, and Sodexo, among others. Then you came back to ULB and you earned a doctorate in economics and management in 2022. In the Balearic Island, you teach in the Master of Big Data Analysis and Business Economics from 2022. And among your specialties, you do research in communication and consumer behavior, in particular, donations to NGOs. Among your relevant publications, there is a joint paper with Lemmens and Vandenberg called Enhancing Donor Agency to Improve Charitable Giving, Strategies and Heterogeneity, that appeared in the Journal of Marketing in 2023. Now, your research topic is very relevant for health research funding at a time where scientific progress offers opportunities, but also financial challenges. And so it's very interesting to have researchers specialized in marketing help us understand how to convince donors to donate for good causes. So it's perfect for our interdisciplinary institute, I3h. So thank you for talking today about enhancing direct mail fundraising campaigns and or communication in the nonprofit sector. Thank you.
Matthias.
So there are some people on site, some people online, and let's agree that Emilie has agreed that interruptions are okay for clarifying questions, and then we'll have a debate, and we will finish no later than 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. Thanks a lot for the introduction and for the invitation. I'm very happy to be in Brussels. And thank you for coming to the seminar, also to the people online. Today, I will share some empirical evidences about communication in the nonprofit sector. I will first start with 2 projects about fundraising campaigns, direct mail fundraising campaigns. And then I will share some data about SMS reminders at hospital. The first project I want to talk about is the one that is joint work with Aurélie Lemmens and Bram Vandenberg from Rotterdam School of Management. And in this project, we focus on the agency relationship that exists between a donor who wants to help a victim or a cause, but is actually donating his or her money to a charity who is going to be the agent and will concretely help the victim. And the agency relationships have been studied extensively from a theoretical point of view. But when we started that project, it was not studied from an empirical point of view in a charitable giving context. So our question is really, does increasing the perception that the donor has about the control that he or she has about the usage of his donation, does that have a positive effect on his generosity? And to study this question, we had the opportunity to partner with an NGO that allowed us to organize a large-scale field experiment. It's a Belgian NGO based in Brussels, and they have a database of more than 40,000 people that are people that have already made a donation to the NGO in the past. And this NGO sends a letter on a regular basis to these people. They promote a project or several projects, and they ask for donations. And in this case, they were promoting 3 different projects. Imagine, for example, providing mosquito nets to a family, providing a vaccine to a child, those kind of projects. And the amount that you see there, it's in euro. It's the marginal cost for equipping one victim with this project. So it's the cost of 1 mosquito net for 1 family. And this is actually the letter there were, the letter that the charity was planning to send. It's 2 pages. On the first page, they describe the charity, the projects, and then at the back, you have pictures, and then you have a mosquito net equals 48 euros, and other project as well. And at the back, you always have a last line that says, with 48, 88, or 120 euros, your generosity can make the difference. You will see later why I insist on that. The charity always sends a bank transfer order with the letter. And actually, people use the bank transfer order. They themselves fill the amount, and they either bring it to their bank, or they ask someone from their entourage to fill it in online. We know that because in the communication that you can add in the bank transfer order is very often personalized. They say, they really take words from the letters and they say it's to help the little boy. It's so they really communicate something through the bank transfer order. So we know they use the bank transfer orders. And the idea we had to increase the sense of control that a potential donor might have over the usage of his donation. The idea we had is to include 3 bank transfer orders in the letter instead of 1. And each of those bank transfer orders would be named for one of the projects. So that by donating, you could choose to donating for a specific project, one of the 3 that was advertised in the letter. That is our first manipulation. The second manipulation actually is reverse. So the NGO was planning to share how much a mosquito net would cost, but we convinced them to also create one letter where the amounts would not appear, meaning that everybody would receive the sentence at the end that says, with 48, 88, or 120 euro, your generosity makes a difference. So we talk about the amounts so that all the conditions are comparable, but in the no targeting condition, we do not say a mosquito net equals 48 euros. The idea is that when you compare those 2 conditions, the one that says a mosquito net equals 48 euros, by donating 48 euros, you have a feeling of control. You feel that you are donating a mosquito net and that the charity is going to use the money to do what you want. So these are the 2 ways we implement a sense of control in these targeting campaigns. This results in a 2-by-2 between subject design. So you have the no targeting condition. So you do not have the link between the project and the amounts, and you only have 1 bank transfer ordered that is named for the charity. Then you have the targeting via options. That means you don't have the link between the project and the amount, but you have 3 bank transfer orders. Each of one is named for a project. Then you have the targeting via amount, where you have the link between the project and the amount, and you have 1 bank transfer order for the charity. And then you have the targeting via amount and via options condition, where you have the link between the amount and the project, and also 1 bank transfer order per project. And
can I ask a
yes,
clarifying question? So in the first case,
yes.
I'm told there are projects ABCs, they respectively cost 48, 88, 120. And then I can decide how much I give. And then I can communicate, and I'd like it to be project A, for example.
You may communicate it, yes. And you actually do not know what those 48, 88, and 120 correspond to. In many fundraising campaigns, people think that these are the amounts that people give in general.
Okay.
That it's kind of a anchoring price or anchoring amount, so that you know more or less what people give. But you don't know that 48 is the price of a mosquito net. And you might as well give 5 euros and feel good about it.
Okay, because then when you go to targeting via amount,
yes,
it says more explicitly that A is 48, B
yes.
is 88, but I can still fill how many euros
yes,
I want.
Yes. The bank transfer order, the field for the amount you donate is always blank. But in the targeting via amount options, if you give 5 euros or 10 euros, you feel bad because you know that what you give is not really helpful.
Well, it's not enough.
Not enough, yes.
And for targeting via options with and without the amount, it's only in the last part that you cannot choose the amount. It's written 48, 88, and 120, the last one.
Yeah, the amounts here at the bottom, they were actually on the other page of the letter. And we wanted to be sure that all the conditions would be reminded of the same amounts.
Okay, so you still have to fulfill the amount by yourself?
Yes, in all conditions. All 4 cases. Yes, okay. Yes, that's very important. Yeah. In all conditions, the bank transfer orders are blank.
I mean, I had that question in a different way.
Yes.
Why is it that in option 2
yes.
and option 4, and especially in option 4, I should say, why is it that it's not pre-filled? You have 3 forms.
Yes.
Why is it that it's not already put 48? I'm taking that one, and A, it's written already 48. Why is it we don't do that?
First, because we wanted all the amount fields to be blank in all conditions.
But why?
Because we really want that people are allowed to give whatever they want in all the conditions.
Okay.
And we want to see if this manipulation in the communication will actually convince them to give more. But we do not want to force them by already printing it on the form.
Because you could have added a 5th option,
yes.
where you do it and see whether it works or whether there is a backlash. Because some people say 48 is too much for me, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, we could have added a 5th condition, which would be targeting via options and amount, exactly and the same, and pre-filled with the 3 amounts. Absolutely, yes. Here, I'm sharing the results. So in total, the charity collected about 90,000 euros. You can see that the first condition, no targeting, collected 18,000 euros, more or less, with a 4.7 donation rate, an average amount of 39 euros donated per donor, and a median amount of 40 euros. That's the median of the gifts that were donated. Because of course, like 95% didn't give anything, it's most of people gave €0, but here it's only the median of the observed donations. The second condition, targeting via options, via the forms, €23,000, an increase of 27% compared to the no targeting option, donation rate of 5.4%, significantly higher than the no targeting condition, an average amount of €43 per donor, and a median of €40. Many people give €40 because in that time it was the amount that was tax deductible. The targeting via amount condition, €21,000, an increase of 16% versus the no targeting condition. Donation rate of 5.2%, not really significantly different than the no targeting condition, an average amount of €40 and a median also of 40. And then the condition with the two targeting manipulations. This one really generated much more money, €26,000, an increase of 40% in amount, a higher donation rate, 5.4%, and here an average amount per donor of 48, and also a significant shift in median. We really managed to shift the donation towards a median of €48.
Just project A.
Yes. With this data, and I refer to you to the paper for more details, we confirm that allowing to target the donation increases generosity. And in the paper, there are many follow-ups, surveys, online experiments that support that it's because people felt they had a higher sense of control about the usage of their gift. Nevertheless, we have to be critical, and everybody here is different and has different behaviors, and there might also be alternative explanations to our results. For example, when you receive a letter with 3 forms, you change the mindset of the people. Instead of asking themselves if they're going to donate yes or no, they switch to a more implemental mindset, which is to which project should I donate? So that might also drive our results. There is also a lot of research in finance. It's called naive diversification, but also in medicine, Fox studies a lot how they present choice between medicines like antibiotics and other medicines to doctors, and how the fact that how the way choice is presented changes what doctors give to their patients, and that is called partition dependence. And so in our case, we can easily imagine that when you only have one form, you have the opportunity to say no or to fill a form. So it's kind of 50% no and 50% yes. If you receive 3 forms, you have kind of 75% of options to say yes and 1 option to say no. So those might also be alternative explanation behind what we think is driving the results. And we also, in the paper, studied in detail who were the people that reacted very positively to the condition with the 2 targeting manipulations, because the charity gave us all the history of their donations in the past. And we find that those who reacted positively to the 2 targeting interventions were people that gave high amounts in the past, people that recently made a donation to the charity, people that made more frequent donation to the charity, and people who had a longer tenure with the charity. So,
but that was equivalently shared in between the subgroups, like in the 4 condition, it was significantly the same groups in terms of high amount in the past.
no, it's those who gave. So if you look at the average amount that the donor gave in the past between the conditions, those who gave in the condition with targeting with amounts and targeting with options, those ones had a higher average amount donated in the past. So it's more the characteristics of the people. We compare the characteristics of the people in the 4 conditions. So among the 10,000 that were in each condition, of course, the characteristics were similar because it's 4 random groups of 10,000 people. But then among those 10,000 people, about 500 self-selected themselves into donation. And those that decided to make a donation, they actually have different characteristics across the 4 groups.
So one way to interpret is to say that if I care a lot about the cause,
yes,
I want to be in control, kind of. I want to be in control, have
yes,
more control.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Because I know what is good.
Yes,
I think
yes.
I know what is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I also put a reference here because some colleagues made research online where they also offer a choice to prospective donor. It's a charity that offers people to sponsor a child, and it's online. And when people decide to donate, there were 2 conditions. Either they received the picture of a child and they could decide to donate, or in the other condition, they actually received 3 pictures and they had to choose just to tick to which child they would donate. And they actually closed the web browser in that condition more often, and they decided not to donate. So sometimes offering choice, and in this case, it can be emotionally unpleasant to have to choose between 3 children, and then it ends up decreasing the donation rate. André.
I have a slightly different, I think, explanation of what's going on here. In the first option,
yes,
people give 40.
mm-hmm.
Okay, and 40 we know what it is. It's the minimum amount to get the tax deduction. Okay?
Yes.
So that's an important element here. Okay, it's not just the 3 options, the 3 projects that are important, it's the minimum amount.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't do anything, people give that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I introduce the 3 projects, what people give is the minimum of the 3,
mm-hmm.
which is the 48.
Yes.
Okay, so it's again the minimum. The minimum here is playing a crucial role. It's either minimum 48. Now I'm increasing my minimum from 40, which is I only think tax,
yes.
to you are giving me 3 projects. I'm taking the cheaper one of the 3, isn't it? So is it really the agency, or exactly what is it? It's true that you are giving me something concrete. You are telling me, in a sense, the message you are giving is that 40 you must give. If you give, you must give 40 because otherwise you don't get a tax deduction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's clearly an important element. But I'm giving you something which is, if you give a bit more, you can see the picture of
yes.
what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, but the other 2, they seem to be irrelevant. So what I would like to know is the distribution, because you have given us so far only the median.
Yes.
But I would like to know what is the distribution, and is there a difference in the distribution also, not just the median, but do we have more people who are willing to go further than the minimum of the 3? So go from the minimum tax to the minimum of the 3 projects.
Yeah.
Have you looked
Very
into this?
interesting. Yes, yes. We have we've looked into that
Okay.
in detail. I don't have it here,
Okay.
but we see that actually different type of people react to those 4 solicitations. Especially in the one with the 3 bank transfer orders
Mhm.
and no link between the amount and the project. Many people gave 3 times 5 euros, and those were people that usually only give 1 time 5 euro, because also some people only give 5 euro, 10 euros. They gave 3 times, so we managed to triple the amount that they gave. So, but I don't have the data here to explore.
Sure.
But I think too that it would be very interesting to study in detail the distribution of the gifts in the 4 conditions. Absolutely.
If I may,
Yes.
Of course, I agree with all this question. It's quite interesting to think about the 40 versus 48 and the like, because indeed, but it doesn't make any sense to give 30, because if you give 40, you give less and they get more. Huh? So, but interesting that some people give 5. This being said, I thought your 4 experiments explain that only the 4th is able to move the median from 40 to 48.
Yes.
And I thought that, I think, is interesting.
It's interesting.
But indeed, there, obviously, the 88 and 120, okay, they are.
We don't know whether they play a role.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I would like now to share data analysis about another project that we worked on with Bram van den Berg about also fundraising campaigns. This is work in progress, and it was mainly data-driven. We collected the fundraising campaigns of 4 distinct NGOs. 2 of them are providing human services in Belgium. 1 of them is protecting nature and helping animals in Belgium. And the 4th one is collecting money to help people in Africa, mainly in the healthcare sector. All the campaign happened before the COVID, and we have in our sample about 120 campaigns. Here is a chart of the campaigns. Each dot represents 1 fundraising campaign. On top of receiving the PDF of the letter, we received the number of people that to which the charity sent the letter, the number of people who made a donation, and the total amount that was collected by the charity. So each dot is a campaign. Each color represents 1 charity. And on the x-axis, you see the donation rate, the number of people who made a donation divided by the number of people who received the letter. And that goes from as low as 3% to 16%. On the y-axis, you see a calculated average amount. We will not use that in the rest of the analysis because it's the total amount divided by the number of donors, but it does not represent the true amounts that were donated. We know from the previous project that many people give 5 euro, many people give 10 euro, and then 40. So the minimum of 21 euro is not really representative of the behaviors of donors. What is known in the literature about fundraising effectiveness is that sympathy drives donation. That is why in all the campaign, they build a story about a victim or a project, and they hope to generate sympathy among the potential donors. What is also known in the literature is that a negative framing of the appeal has a positive impact on the donation rate. There is also a lot of work that is done on the suggestions, the amount that.
What is negative framing?
If you use negative words, so you're saying that the victim is suffering, the victim is in distress. There is a critical situation.
Okay, it's not trying to give me bad conscience if I
No,
don't,
no, no.
If I don't give. That was my question.
No, 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 no. It's just talking about the story with negative words. There is also a lot of work that has been done in terms of the suggestions. It's been shown in many research that people tend to give the amount that is suggested to them. If you suggest a low amount, more people will give. If you suggest a higher amount, less people will give, but you might still collect more money with less people giving a higher amount. And what is also well known is that human beings tend to reciprocate. And so if the charity includes a little pen in the envelope while asking money for a project, people will actually reciprocate the gift and also make a donation. So including a little gift in the appeal will increase donation rate. So we tested.
But you say reduce the amount donated.
Yes. So
Some
people will
just
give
want
€5
because they want a gift.
They receive the gift anyway, but they might feel guilty that the charity spent the money, or they want to reciprocate the gift. So they will give €5 instead of giving the 40 that are tax deductible.
Well, do we know whether, but we don't really know what these people would have done without the gift. Maybe they would have given 0, but since there is a gift, they give 5.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
On the sympathy, if I may.
Yes.
You said earlier that people don't like to have to choose between a child in need.
Yes.
This reminds me a bit of the case we discussed. So among the things we look at in I3h is rare diseases. And rare diseases,
yes.
Some of the treatment costs, millions for
yes.
one person.
Yes.
And there is even this famous case of little Pia, where there was a fundraising campaign
yes.
by the parents, which was now one of these companies, Novartis, big company, had the idea at some point to say, look, this is very expensive, but we will do our share. We will organize, a lottery. So we know many children who need that, and we will select 1 out of 100. That was seen as a complete disaster. Who are these guys who, even though at some level you could say, look, there are a couple of children who will be saved, or helped. But that people really disliked, and they had to, which I guess is consistent with the idea of not liking to choose the happy few.
Especially when there is a lot of unpleasant emotional content or unpleasant
because
emotional feelings.
These are degenerative diseases, and so for children it's really often.
Yeah, absolutely. So we tested our sample in line with what we know in the literature, and we see here in the first column that.
What is the experiment? What is the Y variable?
So the dependent variable is the donation rate.
The donation rate.
Yes.
But we have the x-axis.
The x-axis that we saw, and.
So remind me, those
yes.
are you have 124 observations.
Yes.
Are they 124 NGOs or 124 campaigns?
Campaigns.
By how many NGOs?
4 NGOs. So we
4
control,
NGOs.
yes, and we control
and so,
for the NGO.
Okay, so what are the differences across? So you showed what were the NGOs, let's leave that aside. So for a particular NGO, there are many campaigns.
Yes.
What is typically a difference between, what are the What is the variability here
Yes.
of cross campaigns?
We also we control for that. It's also the months of the year. So at Christmas, there are a lot of messages around for children at Christmas that they would like to improve their life. So those around May, there are a lot of content about children that would like to do their communion and would need support. In September, they talk about going to school. Some kids need material, etc. But then also across the year, there are campaigns for a child that is sick and the disease changes or the need changes. Sometimes it's a heart problem, sometimes it's less severe.
An earthquake someplace or something
also,
like that.
Also, yes, or fires. In
but
nature.
Is that, I mean, I see you don't have that in your variables.
I control for that.
You control for the NGO, for the year and for the months, but you don't really control for an earthquake versus
indeed
something
a disease.
Why is it you don't control for that? For the type of appeal that is made?
Yes. Yes.
Is it for children? Is it for? I mean, it's not the same thing, right?
Absolutely.
So there's an earthquake in Haiti in
Yes.
general, or there are children
Absolutely.
dying of hunger.
Yeah.
Why is it you don't control?
Because it's correlated with the NGO.
Okay.
So the NGO that protects nature and animals does not talk about children.
Okay.
The other one have kind of relative similar appeals.
Right. So you think you captured that more or less in your
yes.
NGO?
Yes.
Although,
more or less.
Yes, more or less, because
yes.
you seem to say that the NGO, then the only difference is the year and the month, which may not be correct,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the problem that we have with observational data and a small sample of.
You don't have the more data. You don't need that
I
because
don't
you don't know it.
Yet.
You could still have descriptive statistics about donation rates per NGO.
Yes.
To see a bit, why, how different are they?
Yes.
I understand two are kind of similar and the other two are it's different. So it might be nice to have some descriptive statistics about them before showing this.
Okay, sure. This slide actually tries to convince you that our sample is still robust to some known theories in the field of fundraising. A higher percentage of negative words is positively correlated with a higher donation rate. Personalized suggestions are positively correlated with a higher donation rate, and including a little gift in the campaign is also positively correlated with a higher donation rate. And what we are trying to find is something new, actually, in this data. So we were actually influenced by our first project. And we looked at how many specific projects the charity was communicating in its letter. They were communicating between 1 and 3 specific projects. And what we coded is the temporality of this project. So all the campaigns could be coded into 3 different variable, which is 3 different scenarios, which is either the project, specific project happened in the past, the charity is communicating about it, and then it is asking for more money to help other children or to continue helping the charity. Other campaigns are more oriented towards the future. It's called to go in this setting. They are talking about a problem that is happening now, like a child who needs a pair of glasses, and they are raising money in order to achieve that specific project. And then about 1/3 of the campaigns talk about two distinct projects, and they link them to each other in a temporary way. I give here one example for the Nature NGO, but there were also examples in the other NGOs. Here, they talked about bee houses that they built around Belgium. They say, thanks to your generosity, we built 2,000 bee houses. But now we noticed that foxes are attacking the bee houses to steal the honey. And we need to build fences around the bee houses. So we have a new project. It's urgent. We need money to protect those bee houses. So they're making a link between to-date and to-go information. And if we include this coding in the regression, we see that the campaigns, 1/3 of the campaigns that were talking about specific projects in the past and in the future are associated with a higher donation rate. Of course, as we said.
So for comparing today to go and today to go, you're comparing campaigns that are quite different, right? Because you base your data on campaigns that are existent. Do you plan maybe, like if you think there is a big difference in between the to date and the to go, to redo like a fictive experiment where you
yes, absolutely.
compare it with exactly the same.
Exactly. So here, as we said, it's observational data, and there might be confounding factors. So what we did is organize an online experiment where we created a to-date and to-go condition. So here you can see that we're talking about an NGO, New Life, who shipped medicines and equipment to its hospital in Haiti. So that's concrete, and it happened last year. And then we're talking about one victim who is waiting at the hospital, and the NGO wants to send him a surgeon. That is the to-go specific project. And the other condition, everything is to go. So the charity wants to send medicines and equipment, and they also want to send a surgeon. I highlighted in gray the differences between the conditions. Unfortunately, we do not observe any significant difference between the two conditions.
Do you then maybe like to use your to-go that gave significant results in the past experiment to compare this one in your new online experiment with another one that will have the same picture, kind of the same things expected?
We are a bit stuck in this project.
But it's very close. Huh?
Yes.
Honestly, if I read it fast, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
What is written on the left and what is written on the right is identical.
Yes.
At a very quick
Yes.
reading. Okay, Henry, 1 year old. Okay, now and you know.
Yes.
I mean, it's in a sense, he's waiting. It's clear that he's waiting now, right?
Absolutely.
So the language
it shows that you have managed to do something, so it gives you some credibility. But you're right; it's a few words to say.
Did the manipulation check worked for the today? Did the manipulation check worked?
Yes.
To date?
No, actually, the results were really similar across conditions.
Okay, so they didn't really persist the manipulation.
No. But it was a small-scale experiment, and online people don't pay a lot of attention to the stimuli. So now we're a little bit stuck. We don't know if we're going to try to convince an NGO to really take one of the letters that they already plan to send and change it a little bit in order to have cleaner conditions, because we think that people that receive those letters at home, either they immediately throw them away, either they really read it carefully. So we would have a better setting to study this. And we also have some problems in terms of relating this to a theoretical framework. So that's why we're not, we didn't start the randomized field experiment with an NGO yet, because we want to relate this to a theoretical framework. The idea that we have at the moment is to relate this to the field of narratology. Narratives, it's stories, it's linking events and people in a way that makes sense, are known to persuade, to increase involvement with characters, reducing reactance. And even Schiller says that certain stories might have influenced severe recession. So it's a topic that is at the moment quite popular, but there are very few empirical work on the topic. There is one work in '92 where scholars exposed two groups of students to facts about to criminal facts. One group saw the facts as bullet points, and the other one received a story that ordered the facts in a way that made feel that the defendant was guilty. And then they asked the student to say if the people are guilty or not. And in the story condition, more people say that the defendant is guilty, and they also are more confident about their decision. Same kind of testing the attractiveness of vacation. Vacation can be advertised as activities that will happen, or a story about a nice vacation. And this one is judged more attractive.
What you call narrative here, I see a lot of literature in economics, but also in psychology, call it framing.
Also, yes.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
It's how you frame this,
how you
right?
frame, yes.
And I see more the word, I mean, the kind of thing that I read,
Yes.
I see more the word framing,
Okay.
yes, than narrative. But
Okay.
it seems the same thing, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
But and that's the reason why we have high-paid lawyers who
Yes.
defend or attack. Well,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's, at some level, it's okay, sure. The question is, how do you make it precise, of course? But, I think it's part of
So in this narratology literature, they say that specificity instead of generality affects narrativity. So all our letters are stories, they're all narratives, but we would like to convince people that some of the letters, because they talk about specific projects, are more narrative than the others. And it's also known that causality affects narrativity. So we think also that talking about a project that you achieved in the past, and for that reason asking money for another project that is related to that project, increases causality in the text. And so we would like to argue that some letters are more narrative than the others. And so I think we're actually working on that right now, and we are trying to build actually an appeal that would match this theory. For today, I'd like to summarize the evidences that I discussed about in terms of effectiveness of fundraising campaigns. You know, if you organize a fundraising campaign, you should know that the donation rates can be as low as 3%, even among people that already made a donation in the past. You should think carefully about the framing, storytelling, but also the kind of words that you use, positive or negative. If feasible, you should personalize the ask, because people tend to give the same amount that they have been giving in the past. Provide more yes than no options. Allow to earmark the donation or to target the donation if you cannot assure people legally that you will earmark the donation. Online or in general, you should avoid emotionally unpleasant choices. And if your strategy is short term, then you can include a gift that will always increase the donation rate. Now to finish this seminar, I also wanted to share some data that I worked on in the healthcare sector. It's a project for which I had access to 12 years of data of an important university hospital in Belgium. And it concerns 2 million patients, from which I received all the appointments that they made at this hospital. And I know if they went to the appointment or if they didn't go without canceling the appointment. So really didn't show. And the hospital launched the system of SMS reminders in 2011. So I'm using this shock to analyze the effect of SMS reminders on the attendance to a medical appointment. Because I cannot control for the characteristics of the people, I only selected those people that were in the system before the SMS was put in place and also after. So I have 40,000 patients and 600,000 appointments. And I'm sharing here with you the results. The dependent variable is attendance, yes or no, 0 or 1. And I'm sharing here the linear regression, because the coefficients then are easier to interpret. You can see in the first column the effect of an SMS reminder. It's known in the literature, it has a positive effect. Here we estimate it increases by 2% the probability to attend a medical appointment. At this hospital, the probability to attend is already very high, it's about 90%. We also analyzed the attendance and the effect of SMS per medical field. It's interesting to see that here the baseline is pneumology. In the, pneumology and cardiology, the attendance rate is very high, and SMS doesn't have an effect on that. People go to their pneumology and cardiology appointment. But in gynecology and dermatology, SMS had a very positive effect on attendance.
People are rational.
Yes.
Reassuring.
Yes. We also have the date of birth of the patients. So we try to look at the effect of age. The only effect that we found is that if you group people that are older than 65 years old, you see that those people have a higher probability to go to their medical appointments.
Because the age when they enter the database, or
no, the age at the time of the appointment.
Okay, so we don't know when they implemented the SMS. Then they are around that age.
So the unit of observation is an appointment, and each appointment is either 1 or 0, attended yes or no, and then it's SMS received yes or no, and then you also have age of the patient at the time of that appointment. We also received the zip code of the patients. So we classified all the zip codes that were close to the hospital and created a dummy variable of people living close by the hospital. And it seems that those who live close by have a lower probability to attend a medical appointment. And then, because we know the gender of the patients, what we find very surprising is that women in general have a lower probability to attend a medical appointment, and that's true in all the fields. And SMS has a positive effect on the attendance. So, yes.
Over time, I think the financial penalty for not attending appointment without telling in advance must have changed. No?
Yes, absolutely, but not in our sample. So between 2011 and 2014, there was no penalty. But
this is the period here,
yes.
2011 to 2014.
Yes. But it's true that now, also in France, they're talking a lot about a special tax for people not attending their medical appointments.
So it's purely either, I was absent-minded and I forgot, and thanks to the SMS, I'm reminded,
yes.
or I feel guiltier
yes.
because of the SMS. So could be both.
Yes. As a conclusion, I would like to say that here our data show that a simple communication tool like SMS can have a huge impact that is good for society. The hospital sent more than 150,000 SMS in our sample. It's less than 5 cents per SMS, so it's less than 7,000 euros that it cost the hospital. And thanks to those SMS, more than 3,000 appointments were not missed.
It's still so 5 cents. I don't know their value of an appointment not missed. Is it?
It's beneficial, yes,
okay.
yes, because in terms of revenue, I don't know about profit, but in terms of revenue, we calculated and we received from the hospital the average revenue of consultation, which is 40 to 50 euros, and it's beneficial. In terms
it's
of
€2.5 per appointment not missed. Right, because it's 7,500 for the reminder, and you get 3,000 appointment not missed.
Yes.
So per not missed appointment is €2.5.
Yes, absolutely. And you actually gain 40 euros per appointment. Yeah.
Okay, you gain. Okay, yeah.
Or it's revenue.
It's revenue. That's right. I mean, there's cost of.
Then there's the cost. Yes. And also in this data, we see that contrary to the existing literature, there are subgroup differences, and I find the difference in gender very surprising. And it is not explained in the literature until now.
Women.
Yes.
That's controlling for field, including
cardiology, pulmonology.
Yes, but you said it's in obstetrics, because it's harder to.
It is. We excluded gynecology from. We also have data where we only analyze cardiology.
One explanation is that women care more for children, and children have more irregular sickness, things of that sort, and therefore women
cannot attend
because of their children, of looking after children.
Yes, absolutely.
That could be an explanation.
Yes.
Sorry.
So actually finished my presentation. I hope I convinced you that small changes in communication can have important pro-social consequences, and I'm happy to discuss with you now.
Thanks a lot. Are there general questions? Feel free to ask. Also online, huh?
So far, we don't have.
No questions.
Okay.
I really have a
Yes, sure.
curious. So when you choose a project that you can donate to, is the money actually going to that project?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. That's why we make the difference between earmarking and targeting. Some charities, and you can see that on television also, when there is a big catastrophe, a big disaster, you can help people, and the funds are earmarked.
Okay.
And they will only help the people or the country where the catastrophe, the disaster happened. And actually, it's known also in the literature that there is money that is blocked and not used because too many people or gave too much money, but it's earmarked for a specific disaster aid and it's not used for other reasons. In our case, the NGO was not able to specifically take the money that was given for the mosquito net and only dedicate it to mosquito nets. That's why we say that we allow to target the donation, but we do not allow them to earmark their donation. Thank you.
Most of the NGOs, maybe they have different types of NGO. So I don't know, I'm wondering that which type of NGO that people trust more, and they are more willing to donate.
Yes, that's absolutely. It's known in the literature, and in the US, you also have a website that compare efficiency of NGOs per type of category. Yeah. And so if you are a new donor, you can always check and you want to donate to save animals, for example. There are websites where you can compare the efficiency of the NGOs, which percentage really goes to project, which percentage is used for overheads and administrative costs.
One more question is for the, so I'm thinking also about the policy making, because it's also about the communication, but it's about the communication between the policy makers and firms. So because recently we are also studying some definition of the unmet medical needs, but we don't have definition here. So I'm wondering that what is the more information can impact the decision making of the firms. Is there any relation between the commission here and the policy making?
I have no idea.
You mean, for example, when we are talking about unmet medical needs, for example, okay, you have X hundreds of thousands of rare diseases,
yeah,
and we have treatment for only this percentage.
But there's no definition in the policy in the document.
But it's true that I guess my way to connect what you've discussed, what Shishan is saying, is that in some cases you enter into technicalities, and you can quickly go beyond what, let's say, average people understand. And I don't know whether in your case, for example, okay, mosquito nets and so on. I understand indeed we still don't have a vaccine for malaria. So the only way to go is to protect people with mosquito nets. Now, you could say, okay, why should I give to mosquito nets rather than give to research for malaria vaccine? Yeah. And I don't know whether these NGOs, how they deal with that. Give to us, because rather than substitute costs.
Yes.
Is that an issue that's being studied, or I don't know? That's one way that I can reinterpret your question.
Yeah, I'm sure there exist theoretical models that that study what is the more effective way to tackle a problem. I've read some of this research trying to be more effective and maximize the help, the pro-social wealth, actually. But the way NGO work, because I've been in contact with many of them, it's really based on the management. So people created that organization and they wanted to continue being successful, and they might even compete with other NGOs or other agencies that are doing good, but they want to keep being successful and collecting money. So that's sometimes a bit disappointing when working with NGOs. Sometimes they have their own management interests in mind rather than pro-social good, than the social good.
But at the same time, you can say they are convinced that their cause is just and that they've been good at it,
Yes.
and they want to continue.
They want to continue.
If I want to be charitable to them.
Yes. Yes.
But you're right that at some point needs may change, and then the question is how do these companies, not-for-profit companies, adapt?
Yes.
We have a comment
Okay.
from Mark Jones. The case of baby Pia, a Belgian girl with SMA type
Yes.
1, for whom in 2018 more than 2.1 million was raised by SMS messages to get her treated successfully with Zorgenha.
Yes.
Please comment.
Yes, I think it's a well-known case. I think here that the network effect and herding behavior that is very highly studied in behavioral economics. People that have herding behaviors, and there was a lot of people, especially among Dutch people, talking to each other, and they said, did you send the SMS? It became kind of viral. And I think that this is what generated a lot of donations. Also, the initial message was really very carefully thought about. I think we learned afterwards that someone in the family of Pia was a communication manager. And I'm not sure, it's also, what also helped is that it was the first time that it happened in Belgium, that people were actually asked to donate for such a cause via SMS. So in marketing, you always have the first mover advantage or the surprise advantage. If you do something that other people don't do, you will have more success. I'm not sure we could raise that much money again in Belgium with the same strategy. Thanks to you.
Well, I think it's a good question, good answer. Of course, people could argue, look, and on top of that, it worked because now Zolgensma is reimbursed. In Belgium, I think I've heard our Minister of Public Health, Frank van den Broek, say that. So in a sense, you can see that as kind of pioneers. But in a sense, I had in mind these kind of cases when I heard that you said that, specificity can be a positive narrative.
Yes.
At the same time, if I'm okay, I think the parents of baby Pia were quite involved. Of course, for them, baby Pia was special. If you think about it in terms of public health in general, you want to help all the baby Pias.
Yes.
And if it's something which is too personalized, then it's hard to replicate. And then indeed, you better have good connections with the politicians in order to make it reimbursed, because specificity can also limit the kind of the total amount of donations for a particular cause. Because once baby Pia could get per injection, well, that's done, huh? So, but I don't know whether, I'm sure some NGOs would think about that, how specific to be, knowing that they have to raise money now, but also keep raising money in the future. So sustainability, I don't know whether there is work on that.
No, there is less work on long-term effects. Well, it would also be interesting. Yeah.
Okay, are there further questions? On site, online? Well, if not, thanks a lot.
Thanks
It was
to you,
great.
Matthias. Thank you.